Welcome back, everybody. This is my breakdown of Loki episode 2 for the Leitmotifs and any little insights we can get. Before we get into that, it sounds like we are going to be able to get Natalie Holt, the composer of this score, on the channel to ask her some questions. So if you have any questions for her, go ahead and comment below now, and maybe we will ask them when she's on. Other than that, we made some mistakes last week, all right? Definitely check out episode 1's breakdown. Even though we weren't right about everything, it's still really important that we set up all of those themes. So if you haven't seen that, definitely go check that out. If you haven't seen my cover of the main theme, check that out as well. Let's get into it. We got to talk about the diegetic music. If you haven't seen last week's video, or even if you have, I'll catch you up. Diegetic music is music that the characters would be hearing. So if it's played on some sort of speaker in, the scene itself, that's diegetic music. And I really love diegetic music, but the thing that really, really fascinates me is the transition from soundtrack to diegetic, or going the other way. So something that is played on a speaker, then all of a sudden it swells to be part of the major soundtrack, or you hear it in the soundtrack and then it kind of fades into a tinny speaker or something that's happening in the scene. We've already set this up from episode 1, where we're hearing this organ music when we're in France, and I think it was the 1500s. So it makes sense with the time period and the place. And so now we're hearing Renaissance music. We're like, okay, maybe Europe, and there's a king or something, and we're ready for it because this can be any time and any place. So just totally faked us out. Love that. But this is now, setting the scene for the Ren Festival. So when we hear that music in the background, it places us where we are, which happens when they go back to the Ren Festival to investigate.
Let me ask you this. Why don't we just travel back to before the attack, when the variant first arrives?
So from the title sequence where it's, the soundtrack, there's nothing on screen yet, to now we're there, kind of a transition to something more diegetic. But we have this sequence at the beginning where it totally goes from diegetic to soundtrack with the I Need a Hero scene. So you hear how that swells to be part of the soundtrack itself. That happens later on in the episode, the same concept, when Loki is in the library trying to do research, and he's trying to get some insider info, and she's not having it. We hear this classical piece. It's Air by Bach, very famous piece, and it swells to be part of the soundtrack.
There's a class.
Okay, what files can I have?
Happy reading.
By the way, was anybody else creeped out about the classical music here? I just feel like classical music in, popular movies almost always means something atrocious is happening. Like in the first Avengers film, Loki's most villainous moment, I think, is where he's stabbing that guy's eyeball out, and there's this classical piece playing. So I don't know. I was just kind of a little unnerved, and I don't think I was supposed to be. I don't know. Did anybody else feel that? Moving right along, we have our Mobius steel guitar thing. Again, I don't know what it is. It's some sort of guitar with a delay pedal on it. And we have kind of a melody this time. Last time it was just this kind of, well, you remember, drang. And this time we have this thing going on.
He's lying. Just playing games. There's no one out there.
Reset the timeline.
And then later on, when Mobius has his big aha moment about the little boy in France and the gum that he was chewing, we hear it again. It's transposed this time to with those kind of inner notes in it too.
Scared little boy.
Yes, it was quite patronizing. I think it was a bit too far, actually.
So it's kind of exciting. We have a little bit more of a melody to go along with this instrumentation. But I would say either that melody or the instrumentation, or in these cases, both, we're talking Mobius is in control. All right, next up, we have our first oopsie from last week. I said that this thing was Loki's theme, where it was going. Right? I'm not sure that's wrong, but I think we need to broaden it a little bit. I think that means magic. So remember, that theme started to play when he was like trying to use his telekinesis, and it didn't work because he was at the TVA. So that's magic, right? And then it happened when the bombs were going off. We keep hearing this theme when the reset charges are going off. And sometimes it's like this gritty version or whatever, but I think the connective tissue here is actually magic being used, any kind of mystical magic happening. We're going to have to keep an ear out and an eye out for those, but this is where that happens again. And we hear these glorious chords, which I'm closely relating to the Timekeepers. It might, you know what? Let's just say, for now, these are the Timekeepers chord progression. In some way, shape, or form, that's what we've seen with the theremin playing a melody on top of that in episode 1. So. For that, we're seeing a reset charge, which is the Timekeepers, way. We saw in episode 1, the Timekeepers dictate what must be done, and the hunters just do what they say. So here they are setting off the reset charge, just like the Timekeepers wanted. And we hear the Timekeepers theme along with the magic theme that we're calling it now. Oopsie number 2. This is a big one. I said this was the TVA theme, and that's not the issue here. The issue is I said this one is easy. I was very clear. It was all throughout the episode. So it's this one here. Or something like that. And I said it was the TVA theme. I mean, episode 1 is basically setting up the TVA as a whole. It takes place almost exclusively at the TVA, so forgive me. But if you go back and watch that one, I put a little note on it in the timestamp for episode 1 that like, oh, this isn't actually the TVA theme, even though I keep saying it is. Go back and watch it. Every single one of those scenes, it's just Loki on screen. Like, I said it was clear as day last week, so I'm not going to say that again. We think it is the Loki theme, like this.
Good. Yeah. Smart.
Now, when we travel to our rocks cart hurricane apocalypse scene, we hear the Loki theme. And it's really kind of dark and creepy. I don't know why. I guess it's because he's about to go meet some sort of his fate. I don't know. It's setting up this battle with the variant Loki. And then we also hear the magic theme. Or something, some kind of variation on it, some variant of it. I guess that's, they're using this magic to travel through time and space to go there, and then there's a hurricane, and it's creepy. I will allow you to conjecture as much or as little as you'd like. Okay, next we have the Sacred Timeline theme, as I'm calling it. Although every time we see it, it's Loki specifically looking at his life as it would be if he stayed on the Sacred Timeline path. So it's a little more specific for now, but it's this violin kind of spooky melody. Like kind of playing around in that mode. And it's just the same as we saw as he was watching his mom die in the replay, as he was watching, his relationship with Thor and all of that when he saw it in episode 1. Now when he's reading the transcript of the, Ragnarok disaster, again it plays, and, he gets, watery eyes as he reads about, his fate in the Sacred Timeline. Theremin time! Last week I said the theremin equals the timekeepers. I said, just trust me. I have a gut feeling, and I'm sticking with it. It seems to be true. This week there were a couple scenes. It was just, hey, here's a giant statue of the timekeepers and a very present theremin in the score. By the way, Charlie Draper, gotta shout him out again. Theremin player on this soundtrack, just incredible playing. Charlie Theremin on Instagram. Check him out.
That is not nice. Jerk.
Is it just me, or does this office keep getting better and better?
You're wrong, though. You see, I know something children don't.
What's that?
That no one bad is ever truly bad. And no one good is ever truly good.
And there again in that last one, those chords and the theremin representing the timekeepers. So, he doesn't say the timekeepers at all in that kind of speech he's giving. But he's saying, not everybody good is all good. Everybody has their motives. And so if you hear that chord progression in the theremin, we already know he's talking about the timekeepers, but this is, very poignant. He's saying the timekeepers are keeping something from us in some way,
That's where he is.
Alabama 2050. You're gonna take my job if I'm not careful.
So there again, our chords again and our theremin and everything. This one I think is pointed at what Mobius is saying. He's saying, if you're not careful, it's like a warning. If you're not careful, you're going to take my job, meaning you'll be stuck here for eternity because he's good at the investigating, right? Just like Mobius is. I think that's going to become more significant. It's the only reason I can say that the timekeepers are the reason, he says that. I don't know. What do you think? So if you're not careful, you'll have my job, and then this ominous timekeepers thing. Keep an eye on that one. Folks, I need some help with this one. I don't know what it means yet, but hopefully we could put our minds together and figure it out. So it goes like this. It came up twice in last episode. It was B-15's entrance, which is pretty significant. I thought maybe it was her. And then it was Loki breaking out of the TVA, or trying to anyway. And so I thought maybe it was the conflict between Loki and the TVA. And then it comes up a bunch in this episode. It just doesn't totally make a ton of sense to me yet what this signifies. So see if you can spot the thing that is the same in all of these scenes. It's also very possible this is just a theme. It's just music. Sometimes it's just music. But the fact that it keeps coming back, it's making me mad because I don't know what it means.
Yeah. Well, I'll have my magic back. Is no one concerned about that?
Of what?
Me betraying you.
No.
Why not?
Because you already know that we can catch you, and how's betraying us going to get you any closer to the Timekeepers?
An audience with the Timekeepers is on the table.
Keep that focus.
Okay, so in addition to those two scenes from episode 1, we now have Loki talking to Mobius about trust, I guess, and magic. Not really sure. And this like crazy scene where all the bombs are going through the time doors. Like, what do these things have in common? Because I do not know. But keep an ear out, keep an eye out, and maybe we can draw a conclusion. Or maybe it's just music. We'll find out. Okay, the next one is the B section of the main theme, which again, you can see my cover of, link right in the description. How many times am I going to get that in by the end of this? But since it's in that main theme, I feel like it's got to be something, right? So this is what it sounds like. It's also really pretty, and it's played on a theremin. So all the reasons to keep our ears open for this one in future episodes. And it sounds like this.
Left something behind at an old crime scene, a cathedral, a candy box. Obvious anachronism. I gave it to analysis, but they couldn't find anything real.
Why does that matter?
Because now we have two variables: apocalyptic natural disasters and kablooey.
So again, that one only appears once, so we don't actually know the significance of it, if any, but it is part of the theme, so keep your ears peeled for that, and if we see it again, we'll know a little bit more about what it means. This next one also only appears once, but it's just kind of like this long scene with no soundtrack, and then this just sneaks in. So these are the notes anyway.
Okay.
But Mobius, there's not much I can do if it doesn't work out.
For all time.
Always.
Maybe this is her theme. I mean, we haven't seen her suited up or fighting or any of that. Like, I think maybe we will. I don't know. But it seems like this is going to be an important character for the rest of the series. So, keep your ears peeled for that one as well. And closing out this episode 2 breakdown is our main variant, Loki's theme. Sounds like this to jog your memory. And remember, with any leitmotif, we're going to hear variations on it, variants on it, and if they are doing something heroic, it'll sound heroic, and if we're not seeing them totally yet, maybe it's just a portion of it, stuff like that. It's never just going to be the same old theme, just copy and pasted. So here's what that sounded like. Well, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying these. They're fun to make. And again, it sounds like Natalie Holt is going to come on the show and answer some of your questions and mine at the end of this series. We're going to wait until all of the episodes come out so we can truly dig into the music before we start throwing questions at her that she can't answer because it's secret. So comment below with any questions you have for the composer herself, and maybe we'll answer them. Thank you to the Patreon donors for making every single one one of these videos possible. If you want to help out as well, you can go to patreon.com/classicaltrombone. Check out my cover of the Loki theme if you haven't seen it yet. Link right down there in the description. And I have an album called Half Man, Half Machine. It's on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, all that good stuff, and it sounds a little something like it.